Hello, it's Phil and Heather, and we're live just out of the blue and for no apparent reason, but we actually have a reason. Today is the day that my new EOS, do you say EOS or EOS?
I say EOS, but hey, just so you know, you're sharing your YouTube studio.
Oh, well, that's dumb.
There we go.
Hey, now I've got it right. Sorry, kind of setting this up on the fly. We are live, and you say EOS?
I say EOS.
Sometimes I say EOS and sometimes I say EOS. I have no idea which one's right. But anyway, today is the day that my R6 Mark II came in. They just were released yesterday, and I got mine from Murphy Camera, and they are super fast in terms of shipping. Ooh, that chair is noisy. They're really fast as far as shipping to here in Tennessee because they are just one state north of us in Kentucky. So here is the box, and this is not going to be nearly as exciting because the last time we did a camera unboxing, it was the R7, which is probably still going to be my #1 camera. And Heather got one too, so that was exciting because we were double unboxing. But, you know, I had always said when I had my R6 that whenever they release the Mark II, I'm probably going to sell my R6 and get the Mark II just so I can stay current. And so that's what I did. They announced this camera on November the 2nd, and I actually, whoa, what have I done?
You just like hit a button,
I bumped into something.
Yeah.
Anyway, I announced this, or they announced this, Canon announced this on November the 2nd, and I actually placed my order with B&H because they were the first one to have it on their website. But B&H charges sales tax to Tennessee residents, and at the last second, on the 20, what day is this? Today's the 30th. At the last second on the 28th, I called Murphy Camera and I said, hey, do you have any and are they available? And they said yes, but we can't sell them till tomorrow. So I went on B&H and canceled my order and put myself and had them write my name on one at Murphy, and that saved me $331 in sales tax. So here it is, and plus if I had let the order from B&H continue, that camera, because it's further away, all the way in New York, that camera probably wouldn't have gotten here until tomorrow or maybe even Friday. So Murphy Camera for the win. And of course, you know, I just killed my my R7, dropped it in the creek, and I ordered one of these, my replacement one of these from Murphy Camera. So really fond of Murphy Camera. They have excellent service and quick delivery if you live in Tennessee, and no sales tax.
We have a couple questions already.
Okay, let's hear them.
Peter, hi, how are you guys? Once again, congrats on the engagement.
Hi, Peter. Thank you.
We're good.
We're good.
James asked if you got the R7 working.
No. Well, you know what? Every 48 hours or so, I throw a battery in it and turn it on, and nothing happens. We might even do that during the live stream. Wouldn't that be funny if it suddenly came back to life? But my new R7, which I got 48 hours after I killed this one, is working fabulously.
Okay, that's all the questions.
That's all the questions?
I just didn't want them to get
too backed up. Okay, so when I bought my R6, I bought the kit with the 24-105, the cheaper 24-105, the variable aperture. And that lens was okay, but I always regretted not getting the 24-105 f4L. And so when I sold my R6, I went ahead and sold that kit lens, and this time I got the version with the 24-105 f4L, which I'm probably as excited about that lens as I am the camera. So let's open it up. Papers, more papers, book. Excuse me, I'm gonna go put this battery on the charger, and then, whoa, oops, trip on the table, and then I've got a fully charged up battery to go in it, so I'll be able to get this thing going immediately.
Peter says not to let you near a waterfall again. I told him that I told you you're not allowed in any creeks. James says, what did you guys do with your Nikons? So
they're over there.
Yeah, they're over there in the cabinet.
Well, actually, Heather sold her Z50, and I sold my ZFC, and I sold my D7000 and my D7100 and my D300S. Did I say I sold my ZFC?
I think so.
Yeah, but I still have my Z6, my Z50, my D500, my D800. So I still got plenty of Nikons laying around. All right, so here's a battery to put in this thing.
Ron from Amsterdam asks, can you give some specs and differences between the former model and this model?
The biggest difference is the previous one had a 20 point something or another sensor, and this one has a 24 point, I think, 2. I think the other one was 20.9 or 20 point something.
Something like that.
And this one is 24, and I really like a 24 megapixel full frame sensor. That's what my Nikon Z6, which is making this video right now, has. And it seems to me to be kind of the sweet spot because I don't print stuff really, really big. And when I'm doing full frame work, I don't really crop that much. Now when I'm doing APS-C work, that's wildlife. That ends up being cropped a lot, and it's already cropped because it's a smaller sensor. So I like a high resolution APS-C camera and kind of a modest resolution full frame camera. So that's the biggest difference. And it's the same processor. They've doubled the electronic frames per second from 20 to 40. The mechanical frames per second is staying at 12. So, not a whole lot. The main difference is the switch layout on the top, and I'll show you that in a minute. Ooh, look, an L lens in a kit. How weird is that? So here's the strap, and here is the lens hood for the 24-105. I'm going to put that right there. And somewhere in here's a camera. Wouldn't that be funny if I dropped it?
No, don't drop it, please.
Kill 2 cameras in 1 month. But actually, Peter, you were talking about don't go near a waterfall. I was just talking to Heather. We went and ate, and as we were driving to the restaurant just a few minutes ago, I noticed, because it rained all night last night, overnight, like from dusk till dawn, it rained the whole time, and we've been kind of in a drought, so the waterfalls haven't been flowing very good. And I noticed that the ditch beside the road had pretty good water in it. And I'm like, ooh, waterfalls tomorrow. And I got a new camera that might be good for waterfalls. And Heather just looked at me. How'd you look at me?
Well, I told you I didn't think that was the best idea.
Yeah, you might be right. Look at this lens.
Yeah. James asks, do you think this new model will have firmware updates? Like...
Oh, I'm sure that, I don't know if there will be any major groundbreaking changes.
I wonder if the autofocus will be more in line with what we see on the R7.
Yes, definitely.
Yeah.
That's definitely it'll be more like the R7, R10, R3 autofocus system, which I've kind of gotten used to. Although the R6, R5 autofocus system is perfectly great. Matter of fact, I shot soccer with my R6 and was just thrilled with it, and then 2 days later they announced this camera and I sold it. So now I've got one that's even better. This is it's pretty nice. Pretty nice. You want to hold it?
Mm-hmm.
Don't drop it.
Okay. Let's see. It's a wee bit of a chunk.
Yeah. This is tiny compared to, one day I'm going to get a 28 to 70 f2, which is like twice as big around as this. This is the 24-105 f4. It has, does that say 77?
Yeah, 77.
It's got a 77 millimeter filter thread, and this is one of the earlier RF lenses, but it receives nothing but great reviews. The one thing that I've read about, and it makes total sense, that's kind of confusing. Hey, there's the cat. Is the zoom ring is here, the focus ring is here, and right here is the control ring if you want to assign something to that. So all these rings, because there's so many of them and the lens is not really huge, they are really close together, and it might be easy to grab the wrong thing. But I'm sure I can figure my way around it. It is stabilized, and it looks fabulous. I'm going to try to do I may do street photography with this tomorrow. Either that or waterfalls. One of the two.
No waterfalls. James says you should nickname the new camera the Sponge.
Cat, you're bothering me.
He said, just kidding. Let's see. Peter says the lens is great. How much did you end up paying for this kit, Phil, if I might ask?
In US dollars, it's $35.99 and 99 cents is how much this kit is. And the funny thing is, that's exactly how much the R6 Mark I or the R6 original was with this lens. But when they announced this camera, they put it on sale $200 off. So definitely, if you're buying a new one, the way to go is spend $200 more and get the Mark II. Oh, speaking of that, here's the Mark II. Woo. Oh, another thing, the flash bracket has the new extra electrical connections to where some of the new Canon flash accessories will work with this. They've got wireless microphones and stuff that plug into here. So that's another difference between this and the regular R6. What you got for me?
James is asking how is high ISO pictures on the R7. Not great.
Not good. Not good. That's
we try and keep it at least under 4,000. Honestly, I try and keep mine under 2,000 if I can.
Here's the thing with the R7. Its biggest strength is its reach. You know, it's got a small sensor and it's got a lot of megapixels, 32.5 megapixels. Mm-hmm. Its biggest weakness is low light. But the funny thing about that is this camera's biggest weakness is reach. But its biggest strength is low light. Or at least that's the way the original R6 was. This one is not quite as weak in the reach department, but it's still very weak compared to an R7 in terms of reach. And I'm talking about being able to put on a big lens and still crop a bunch and get a lot of stuff in your frame.
I will say, on my R7, I'm trying to get this bad boy out of here.
Yeah, normally all of our camera bags sit on this table, so everything's kind of... Are you even in the right bag?
Yeah, I'm in my bag.
You sure you do want to use my sponge R7?
No, I got it.
Yeah, okay. James said he meant the R7.
Yeah. So, I will say, when I'm using this lens that has the excellent stabilization in it with the body that's stabilized, I can get away with some lower shutter speed, so that does help maintain or keep the ISO manageable most of the time. So
yeah, that's the key with this camera. It doesn't like high ISO, but because it has in-body image stabilization and these RF lenses have such great stabilization in them, you can shoot at much lower shutter speeds than is the norm. Like there's a rule where if you're shooting with a 500 millimeter lens, you're not supposed to go less than 1/500th. If you're shooting with a 200 millimeter lens, you're not supposed to go less than 1/200th. But with that 500 millimeter lens, we're often shooting at 1/160th and having good results. So
yeah,
that helps with the troublesome ISO. Now there are people who say, oh, there's no problem with the noise on that camera, and when you compare it to other APS-C cameras, that's probably true. But
yeah,
when you compare it to a Canon R6 and probably this R6 Mark II that I haven't shot with yet, it's night and day. But the thing about it is, there's noise reduction software that you can use, and blah 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 blah. Hey, I was going to see if...
Okay, I was going to answer.
Oh, no, you go ahead. And I'll do this in a minute.
That's the RF 100 to 500 there, Peter. And what... Does the stabilization on the 100 to 400... Is it comparable?
Yeah.
Okay.
I haven't tested it to compare, but there's an Australian guy named Dwayne Patton,
Yeah.
I think is his name, and he did some really good comparative testing where he shot a number of photos at various shutter speeds, and the R7 with the 100 to 400 did really well in terms of the keeper rate at low shutter speeds.
So there's an option. They said not everybody can get that because I understand that thing is expensive. But that 100 to 400 is a really affordable lens that's honestly pretty good on the R7.
Yeah. I thought I would use it more than I did when I bought it.
Yeah.
Because it's so small and so light. But gosh, it's not the 100 to 500. While it's nowhere near as small and light as that, it's pretty small and light. So here's a test. So I don't use it as much as I thought, but it does have a better maximum magnification. So if I'm doing butterflies, I use the 100 to 400 instead of the 100 to 500. Hey, this is an L bracket that I've just put on my new R6 Mark II, and this is the L bracket that was for my R6, and it fits just perfect. So the small rig L bracket designed for the R6 fits perfect on the R6 Mark II, and that is thrilling to me, so I don't have to buy a new L bracket. What else you got?
They said why not buy a 7D Mark II and good noise software. Autofocus system, right?
Yeah, definitely.
The autofocus system is night and day different.
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with 7D Mark II. As a matter of fact, if it was several years ago and I was a Canon guy several years ago, which I wasn't, I was a Nikon guy, but that would have been what I bought. I'm sure a 7D Mark II would have been the camera, that I used, but it's not several years ago anymore. And these days, first of all, let's say there was no such thing as bird eye detect autofocus, which is what really made me kind of look into Canon and instead of Nikon. If there was no such thing as that, I would still want a mirrorless camera, because a mirrorless camera, the focusing mechanism is on the sensor. On a DSLR like a 7D Mark II or a D500 or any DSLR, the autofocus mechanism is not on the sensor. It's a separate place, and because of that, you have to calibrate. You have to put on your lens and take a bunch of shots and calibrate that lens for that camera because of the separate place that's doing the focusing. This is doing the focusing, like all mirrorless cameras, on the sensor, so it's already calibrated. There's not two things that must be calibrated to each other. It's just one thing, so it's calibrated. That alone makes me not want a 7D Mark II in November of 2022. Now in 2015 or whenever it was that camera came out, I'm sure it would have been the very best option. But to me, it's not the best option anymore.
Okay. Quick question. Should I buy a 7D Mark II with my 600 for reach, or should I buy a teleconverter? I guess it depends.
Okay. Say that again. I missed some of that.
This person's from Singapore. They say, should I buy a 7D Mark II with my 600 for reach, or should I buy a teleconverter? So I assume they're probably shooting full frame.
Yeah, I think the 7D Mark II would be better for reach than a teleconverter on full frame. It just depends on the megapixels, but I'd get an R7.
West Virginia Wildlife. I have the R10 with the 600 f11, very lightweight, about 3 pounds. I think I'd prefer the fluidity of a DSLR mirror, but all the pros of mirrorless outweigh that. Bird eye, AF, more accurate focusing, etc.
Agreed.
Yep, agreed.
Agree. Today's the 30th, right?
It is. Let's see. Hey guys, long time no see.
Who dat?
Chris Rodriguez.
What's up?
Congratulations on the engagement. Thank you.
Thank you. Oh, you're showing them the ring?
Yeah.
What time is it?
Can't see. 7:20.
That's 1920, right?
Yeah. Got to go, guys. Have fun with the R6 II. Bye, Peter.
Hi, Peter. Say hi to the magpies.
Yes.
7:20.
720, yeah. That person from Singapore says they're shooting with an R5 and an R6. Yeah, I think I'd definitely invest in the R7. Maybe.
If you got an R5, you might be just fine and try the teleconverter. I don't know. The teleconverter's cheaper than an R7. If you got an R5, try the teleconverter.
Hi, Michael. Okay, you getting us set up over here?
Yeah. Let's see. I need New York. New York. Okay, now let's see. I should have a cable up here somewhere that will allow me to plug in. Last time I did a camera unboxing, my second
capture
device died, and I couldn't do what I'm going to try to do now. So now I've bought 2 good capture devices. Let's see what happens.
Nice. Channel Den says, going from my Z50 to a R6 Mark II. Excited, waiting to get mine. That is quite the jump.
What do you go from? I'm sorry?
Z50.
To a...
R6 Mark II.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Nice.
Nice.
Yeah, that'll be something. Let's see here. Wow, that's going to be hard to see.
Oh, yeah. Can you not? It'll only let you view it on one thing?
Yes.
Okay.
I shoot compressed RAW, as you can see there, and no JPEGs. It's really hard to see.
Do you want to look at it right here? Is that easier for you?
Well, except it's behind.
Yeah.
Well, you know what I can do? I can make camera 2 there.
There you go.
Then I can see a little better. This is something, focus bracketing is something the original R6 does not have, that the R6 Mark II has. 40 frames per second right there. How crazy is that?
That is crazy. I wonder what the buffer's like on this thing.
I'm thinking not really huge, but bigger than
the R7.
Yeah, well, and plus the files are going to be smaller
because
this
will
is.
Be smaller.
So here's something I had somebody ask me. They said they were doing macro photography with their R7 and they couldn't see what was going on when they were using a flash. And I told them what you do is go to display simulation and disable it. And then your electronic viewfinder will let you see what's going on instead of let you see what the exposure is going to be like when you press the button, because the camera doesn't know about what it's going to be with the flash. But for normal situations, right there is where I like it.
Michael K says, if I may ask, what do you both do for a living? Just curious.
None of your business. But we're both gainfully employed.
Yeah.
But I don't usually share that on the channel too much. Here's where it gets interesting. I almost always use case 2. Okay, that's good enough. Let's.
You got a card to pop in that bad boy?
Oh yeah, that's a good point. I think my card is in the.
You want one of mine?
Yeah, that'd be great. Yeah, I kept the cards out of my regular R6.
You want one of my spares or you want my good one? Or doesn't matter?
Just any one.
Okay, here, I'll give you one of my spares. It's a 32 gig.
All right, we're gonna take the first picture with this thing here in just a second. See how that goes. This on-off switch that is off and then lock and then on. I'm not sure if I'm all that thrilled with that, but I'll have to get used to it. I am thrilled with the
video
with this switch that switches. This is where the on-off switch used to be, and now it's photo and video switch. Let's see, we got auto ISO. We're at 5.6.
Channel Den says it was hard. He's the one that moved from the Z50 to the R6 Mark II. It was hard making the switch, but I think it's appropriate. Still going to hold on to my D500 though.
Of course. I still got mine too. I do. I need to turn off the helpful hints.
Yeah.
Let's get set up for our picture of Heather. That's good enough. We'll start over.
Okay.
Well, eye detect appears to be working. Oh, I haven't set up back button, and I'm on servo, which I can't stand. Oh,
You just fired off
let's
quite a number of
Let's see how many shots that was. 10.
You put it on 40 frames per second.
I did. I put it on 40 frames per second. That was 10 frames. Holy crap. Okay, let's fiddle around with this some more. I got to figure out where servo is and turn that off.
Do you have a Q menu?
See, I keep all my cameras. I never use single. I always use servo, so I never switch it back and forth. So I don't know where it is.
Is it under autofocus?
No, it shouldn't be.
Okay. Right there, servo.
Oh, it is under autofocus. Look at you go.
Mm-hmm.
Servo.
Mm-hmm.
Now move around. Are you moving? Okay, here we go. Well, there were 10. We had 10 shots before. And boy, it is still, of course, that's a slow card that Heather has given me to shoot with, which is fine.
I'm sorry.
That's okay. That's all right. But we'll see how many shots we just did.
And the buffer filled up on it and it said no. Oh no, you went to the wrong thing. Okay.
Yeah, press the wrong button. How many pictures?
There's 122 and
so
you had 10.
I had 10, so it just shot 112 pictures of Heather moving around. Let's switch to
Ray's here. He says, is that an A10 firing its main gun or a camera?
I'm going to transition to this window. All right, these are the shots that it just made of Heather moving around at 40 frames per second. And then there's those other shots. Looks like you're in focus. I can't really tell.
Yeah, I mean, the only one that looks iffy is the ones where I'm super close to the camera and I might be too close.
Yeah, I don't think this lens has a outstanding minimum focus distance. You're pretty cute during all that smiling and wiggling. All right, that is enough of that. So anyway, in the coming hours, I'm sure I'll get this camera completely set up instead of just half-ass set up for a live stream. And you know, the R7 is still going to be my main camera because I do wildlife is my favorite thing, and I like APS-C cameras better for wildlife. But I really like to have a full frame camera as well, and you know, this will be the portrait camera because it has better depth of field. This will be the low light camera. This will be some sports will be this camera. As a matter of fact, I think I've decided that I like full frame and the 100 to 500 for soccer, which is my favorite sport to shoot. So I'll definitely use it for that. And you know, I kind of like APS-C cameras better for landscape photography. I've made even videos about that a couple times, but I'm sure I'll do some landscape photography with this, especially in situations where there is a lot of dynamic range in the shot, because I think a full frame sensor has more dynamic range, especially than an APS-C sensor that's super high resolution like an R7. You got some comments for me?
Wow, that's amazing. 40 frames per second. That is crazy. How about the noise? Don't know yet. But
Don't know yet. I'm thinking it's going to be great.
Yeah.
You know, if it's as good as the Mark I, which is the best camera I've ever used as far as noise is concerned, if it's as good as that, then it's going to be amazing.
Ray says you need to play hooky from work on Saturday and come play with him on Main Street.
Well, there is one of the guys I work with is his daughter is getting married, so he's not going to be there, and his daughter is real good friends with a couple of guys that I work with, so they're not going to be there. So unfortunately, I'm definitely going to be there. I'd love to shoot Main X24.
Yeah, that'd be fun.
There's a thing in Chattanooga that's on Main Street, and they do it every year, and it's like 24 hours of craziness. They have a parade, they have big wheel races, they have...
It's like our Mardi Gras.
Yeah, they have live music all over the place. And I've never gotten to go because I always work on Saturday. But one day I'll get to go.
Yeah.
Just not this coming Saturday. What you got?
Somebody asked, I already answered them, but they thought you were getting another R7, and I said, oh, he did. He did.
It's here. Yeah, it came in. Like I say, I can order from Murphy Camera, which is where I ordered this. And if I order early enough in the day, they'll put it on the UPS truck that afternoon, and the next afternoon it'll be here. So I fell and broke this camera on a Sunday, and I ordered it Monday morning, and Tuesday afternoon my new R7 was here.
Yep.
So I was pretty happy about that, and it works great. And I did, you know, I went through that thing. I sat on the couch because it wasn't a new camera for me, so I set it up on the couch, and I went through that thing and just didn't miss a beat setting it up. It's a little different when you're setting up a camera on a live stream and having to look at a monitor across the way instead of the one on the back of the camera. Had a little struggle setting this one up, but anyway, so I'm going to do the rest of the setting up while we're not live. What else you got?
That's about it.
Okay, well,
oh, how much? Somebody said.
oh, it's $24.99 body only, or $35. No, 35. Excuse me, $35.99 with the 24 to 105 f4L, which is what I bought. So now that we're done talking about R6, I was in the hospital recently, and I'm going to tell you the story about it.
Oh gosh, let's tell the story. It is worth telling.
So it was how long ago has it been now? 2 weeks? 3 weeks?
It was week before last because it was the week before Thanksgiving, and it was that Tuesday.
So went to bed. Everything was fine. Kind of woke up not feeling too good. That's cool. Okay, everything's fine. Let's try to go to sleep and surely it'll go away. And then the first one was 2 o'clock.
Yeah, 2
So
o'clock.
I got up at 2 o'clock and I had to go into the bathroom and do some puking. And it was a weird color. It was a really black, almost looked like an oil slick in the toilet as I was puking. Sorry about the grossness. And I had no idea what it was, but I said, okay, I feel better now that I've puked, and went to bed. Well, got back up at 4 o'clock, 2 hours later, feeling horrible. Did the same thing, except for this time, in addition to the oil slick looking blackness, there was also some bright red speckles in there. And I thought, holy crap, that's blood. So I Googled, and I think you heard me Googling.
Yeah, you said, hey Siri, web search blood in vomit. And I was like, what's happening?
Yeah, so it says go immediately to the hospital. So I went back to bed and tried to go back to sleep and maybe everything will be okay. And then again, 2 hours later at 6, I was feeling horrible and got up. And by that time, I think both Heather and I had realized from the Googling that we did 2 hours prior, I need to go to the hospital. Well, I'm trying to get ready to go to the hospital, and I'm realizing, because every other time I've gotten up, I've just gone and laid by the toilet, as you do, if you're sick in that way. I realized I couldn't stand up for more than about 30 seconds without just getting horribly dizzy. And so that's not good. But we went to the hospital, Heather drove, and I felt fine while we were riding in the car because I had just thrown up. And usually you feel better for a little while after you throw up. We get to the hospital, and I could not walk from the parking place to the entrance to the emergency room. I could not, and it was pouring down rain, and I just stopped and laid down on the concrete in front of the emergency room, excuse me, in the rain. And Heather said, I'm going to go get a wheelchair. So Heather rushed in and got a wheelchair, and the security guard's looking at me like, what is wrong with this person? But once Heather came back with the wheelchair, the security guard realized, hey, this guy's sick. He's not some kind of a crazy person. And between myself and the security guy and Heather, somehow we got me onto the wheelchair. And Heather's trying to push me into the emergency room and kept getting stuck in the doorway because they're not designed well. And but I'm ready to go again. Although it's only like 7:25 by now. But I'm ready to, and I'm like, I need a bathroom, but I couldn't walk. And so the people inside the emergency room have probably been down this road before, so they brought me some sort of contraption to throw up in. So there I am in front of the whole emergency room lobby, which fortunately didn't have many people in it, leaning over in a wheelchair, soaking wet from being laying on the ground in the rain, throwing up in this bag. And anyway,
there was a poor lady in there waiting for, I don't know, whatever she was waiting for in the ER, and she was sitting there like,
yeah. Also, I got to go back before her because apparently I was sicker than her. And then, so I'm leaned over. I got my phone in my pocket, and remember I told you it was about 7:25. Well, 7:30 rolls around, and my alarm goes off.
Time to wake up.
And I can't reach into my pocket and get it because I'm so out of it, and plus I'm throwing up. So it's crazy. I'm not only am I throwing up in front of these people, my alarm's going off. And so anyway, they took me back, and it turned out the reason I was falling out so much was my blood pressure was crazy low. It was like 60 over.
It was like 60 over 40 at one point.
Yeah. So they got that fixed, and they did a bunch of tests, and finally they said, hey, you've got ulcers, we think. And they put me under and did what's called an endoscopy.
Endoscopy.
I call it endoscopy.
Hmm.
Endoscopy?
Mm-hmm.
Whatever that is. And they stuck this thing down my throat and looked around with a camera, found the ulcers, put some metal clamps on them. How crazy is that? I'm like, what's going to happen with these metal clamps? Apparently they're going to fall off and I'm going to pass them painlessly, which seems unlikely.
Yeah.
But anyway, they fixed me, and I spent the night in the hospital, and they observed me, and now I'm back home. But anyway, those hospital bills are going to be coming in pretty soon. So probably not a lot of signature packages in my future for a little while. My dreams of a 28 to 70 will have to be put on hold.
Yeah.
But anyway, I'm alive. Woohoo! So here's how things were going. Let's talk about November. Early November, the University of Tennessee was ranked #1. I had just gotten engaged. I had just ordered a new camera. Everything was going great. Then Heather and I go down to Athens for the Georgia game.
How about them dogs?
I don't know nothing about them dogs. Anyway, Georgia beats up my beloved Tennessee Vols. The next day, I do waterfall photography and kill my R7, and less than a week later, I was in the hospital. So,
it was a really terrible November.
Yeah. So things took a dramatic turn for the worse. Any comments about this craziness?
Phil, glad you patched up. Could have been a whole lot worse.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, it really could have.
Who knows what it was, but I'm glad it was. Apparently ulcers are not a big deal, but it was a big deal that morning, I promise.
Oh, yeah, it was. Because if we had stayed home and his blood pressure had bottomed out, I would not have been able to get it back up. Let's see. Glad you're better. And then my friend says, go dogs. And glad you're doing well.
I always pull for the dogs once Tennessee's mathematically eliminated, but usually that happens in September, not late November. What else you got?
That's all I got.
All right, so we appreciate you joining us for this quick live stream. I always like to unbox stuff live.
Oh,
what else you got?
Somebody said, glad you're feeling better. How did you kill the R7? Well, there's a video.
Yeah, there's a video about it. Just look on the, it's in the landscape and cityscape playlist. Just look for the one that has a picture of an R7 with a dead emoji, and you can see all about it because I made a video about it. But long story short, it fell into a creek.
Ulcers can really suck. Made the right choice. Headed to the doctor. I hate doctors too, but sometimes they are necessary.
I don't really hate the doctors. I hate the doctor bills that'll come later.
Yeah.
And you know what else I hate? I hate it when they have no clue. You know, they ran a CAT scan on me. I've never had a CAT scan in my life, but I'm sure I'll get the bill for it sometime soon, and that's going to be thrilling. Is that it, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Thanks for watching. We appreciate you tuning in. And tomorrow morning, I'm going to go to downtown Chattanooga and maybe do street photography with this thing. And that video will come out probably Monday. I've got a lot of videos already done that are going to be Wednesday and Saturday. And I think I'll probably slide some R6 content in on Mondays. But I don't think I'm going to stay at 3 videos a week. I think I've kind of gone to 2 videos a week already from doing 3 for so long. And I'm probably going to, after dropping some R6 content, go back to 2 a week for a little while until I get way ahead again, and then I'll go to 3. But anyway, thanks. High five. See you guys next time.